Welcome back to Flekar and Inspire, where the stories go deeper than headlines, and the truth lies somewhere between emotion and revelation. Today, we bring you a moment that shocked audiences, rocked daytime television, and exposed how quickly a discussion can turn into confrontation when two powerful voices refuse to back down. This is Nicolas Cage storms off The View after fiery argument with Whoopi Goldberg. It started like every other morning on The View: bright lights, hot coffee, a warm studio filled with applause and conversation. Whoopi Goldberg sat at the center of the table, composed and confident. Around her, the usual co-hosts prepared for the day's lineup, a mix of politics, entertainment, and one highly anticipated guest. Nicolas Cage. The actor known for his unpredictable performances and deep philosophical takes hadn't done live interviews in a while. After a brief sabbatical from the industry, he was back with an independent film, a strange, quiet drama about grief, solitude, and metaphysical time travel. Producers hoped for a quirky, maybe even humorous segment. Cage was unpredictable, sure, but they expected thoughtful, harmless anecdotes. What they got instead was something else entirely. Nicolas entered the studio to roaring applause. Dressed in a vintage brown blazer and faded jeans, he looked like a man both from the present and somehow from another era entirely. He greeted each co-host warmly, until he reached Whoopi. A firm handshake, a tense pause, a glance that lingered just a second too long. Audiences at home didn't notice, but backstage, producers picked up on it instantly. "What's that about?" whispered one. No one knew. Not yet. The interview began with a few safe questions about the new film. Cage gave poetic answers, as always, rambling about emotional gravity, subconscious choices, and how a scene with a broken clock changed the way he viewed regret. Sunny Hostin smiled and nodded, struggling to follow. Sarah Haynes tried steering him back to the basics. "What drew you to this role?" "Trauma," he said simply. "And the fact that no one lets actors be strange anymore." The audience chuckled, but Whoopi didn't. Instead, she leaned forward. "What do you mean by that, Nick?" He turned to her slowly. "I mean the industry has become sanitized. Polished, fake, everyone's so afraid of offense, they forget how to feel." The room quieted slightly. "You think that's new?" Whoopi asked, voice sharp. "You think the world just suddenly became sensitive?" "Yes," Cage said. "And it's killing creativity." There was a pause. "Or," Whoopi said carefully, "maybe it's not about sensitivity. Maybe it's about accountability." Cage leaned back in his chair, eyes narrowing. Accountability is a weapon used by people who hate risk. Now the tension was unmistakable. Joy Behar blinked, looked off stage, and gave a subtle gesture to wrap early. But no one stopped. "Nicolas," Whoopi continued, calmly but firmly, "you're a brilliant actor. No one denies that. But what you're calling sanitized, some of us call evolution. We're not erasing risk. We're asking people to be aware." "Aware of what?" Cage shot back. "People's feelings. People's outrage. You can't create art if you're walking on eggshells." The audience stirred. A few murmurs rippled through the studio. "Walking on eggshells," Whoopi echoed, "is what some of us have always done. Black performers, women, marginalized voices. You act like this is new. It's just new to you." Cage stared at her, and then, with a sudden motion, removed his mic. "I thought I was coming here to talk about a film," he said quietly. "But clearly, this is just another attack wrapped in fake civility." Whoopi stood too. "No one's attacking you." "Really?" he snapped. "Then why am I being lectured on accountability like I'm some kind of privileged dinosaur?" "Because you're acting like one," she said. The studio gasped. Cage slammed his mic on the table. "You know what?" he said. "Maybe you're right. Maybe I am done playing by everyone else's rules." And with that, he walked off stage. The camera feed cut awkwardly. Producers scrambled to break to commercial. Co-hosts whispered frantically off-air. Audience members exchanged wide-eyed looks. A few clapped hesitantly. Most didn't. Backstage, chaos erupted. Publicists screamed into phones. A showrunner argued with Cage's agent in the hallway. Whoopi returned to her dressing room without a word. And for the next few hours, the internet, oblivious to the full context, exploded. Hashtag CageStormsoff. Hashtag WhoopiCage. Hashtag TheViewChaos. Clips circulated within minutes. Some praised Cage for being raw and unfiltered. Others applauded Whoopi for standing her ground and calling out artistic elitism. Pundits weighed in. Influencers did reaction videos. And YouTubers, well, you can imagine. But the real story wasn't in the moment. It was in what happened after. The following day, Cage released a handwritten note on his social channels. Greater than, truth often shows up uninvited. If you were offended by my exit, I understand. But I won't apologize for choosing honesty over polish. The backlash was swift and divided. Whoopi, on the other hand, stayed silent. Until Friday's episode of The View. The studio was packed. Everyone knew it was coming. Whoopi opened the show. Before we begin, she said, let's address what happened. She took a breath. This table has seen a lot. Arguments, debates, walkouts, but what happened with Nick Cage wasn't about politics or promotion. It was about discomfort. She looked straight into the camera. We live in a time where discomfort feels like danger. And it's not, it's necessary. If you're never uncomfortable, you're probably not growing. The audience applauded. She continued, Nick and I, we come from different worlds, different wounds, but I don't hate him. I just think he missed a chance. Behind the scenes, something else was happening. Network execs were worried. They feared bookings would drop. Guests might avoid The View. Studios don't like risk. But instead, something unexpected happened. Viewership spiked. Audiences emailed in record numbers. Finally, a real conversation. Thank you for not editing it out. That's the kind of TV we need. A week later, Cage surprised everyone. Not with another walkout, but with a letter to Whoopi. A real letter. Handwritten, mailed. She read part of it on air. Greater than, I lost my temper. And I lost sight of what I actually believe in, which is dialogue. You called me out, and you were right. I came looking for a platform, but what I found was a mirror. The audience went quiet. We spoke on the phone, Whoopi said, and were good. A round of applause. The story didn't end in bitterness. It ended in reflection, and from it, something new was born. A month later, a podcast launched, Unscripted Table, co-hosted by Whoopi Goldberg and Nicolas Cage. An odd pairing, sure, but one built on friction, fire, and eventually, respect. They interviewed activists, artists, scientists, prison reformers. No soundbites, no teleprompters. Just two people learning to talk, and more importantly, listen. 1 year later, Unscripted Table won a Peabody Award. On stage, Whoopi spoke first. Sometimes the best conversations start with the worst arguments. Then Cage stepped up. I stormed off, he said, but thanks to Whoopi, I didn't stay gone. Sometimes storming off is just part of walking back in. Answer, what began as a clash became a connection. Not because either one of them changed who they were, but because they dared to see each other as more than enemies. Thank you for watching Flekar and Inspire, where every story isn't just about what went wrong, but how things can go right when we open ourselves to growth. If this story resonated with you, like, share, and subscribe. And remember, storming off may feel like the end, but sometimes it's the beginning of something real. We'll see you in